Hello everybody. So, as you know, my name is Quinn, and today we are going to be doing a video on differences between cartridges and discs. So, what we're going to be talking about is the difference between cartridges and discs, and maybe I'll give most people probably don't know what a cartridge is, or what they looked like, or how they work, different from a CD. So this is what a cartridge would look like. This is a Mortal Kombat 3 cartridge for the Super Nintendo. Then we have a standard PS1 disc, which is the next Tetris. Excuse me. And let's start with the cartridge. So cartridges were since cartridges were actual chips, let's talk about that. Cartridges went in the cartridge slot, which had these little pins that would read the other pin, which means that could be bad for stable connections. If it was dirty, you would have to clean it out and then put it back in there. If it didn't read right, you had to push it back in there. Like this one works, it's not that well. Then discs, they are read off of the back of it, which is really shiny and has all these marks on it. You probably can't see it, but it is very reflective. Probably can't see the marks, but nobody can, but that's what it's red. And little wavy discs in the middle also help. So that can determine how the game is played. So let's talk about saving memory. On a cartridge, I don't have a specific, I don't know. Some of them had little batteries, which were called battery packs. They were tiny little batteries that could save data and hold larger games. But so on a disc, the disc couldn't hold data after something's been played. After a game has been played, the the progress can't be saved on that disc. That disc is just the same old game. So, I will give an example real quick. This might take a little bit. Be right back. Okay, guys, we are back after unplugging the PS1. See, the PS1 used a disc-based system. So, when they were using the discs, since they didn't hold, because they didn't hold memory, if you can see, there were memory cards. Memory card slots right here, which would open up. They have little dust flaps. And you would put the memory card in there because, as I said, these things can't hold data. The discs can't hold data. But on the other hand, as I said, some cartridges has a battery, but some of them could hold the data a little. They held some of the data, like when it was played and what was saved at what point in time. And then there half of it is in the system. Since the system, there's no big menu or anything. You just play the cartridge. It has tons of room to just save data because you're doing nothing else. And since there's so much space, they just said cartridges, can save data. But back then, they didn't use discs. Normally, discs weren't popular to use, so you sort of had to use that. You sort of had to use the cartridge, but the cartridge saved data on its own. You didn't need no separate memory card. That was one issue with this, but it was not looked upon like, oh my gosh, this is so horrible. It was more like something, oh yeah, we need something. We need one of those. But it didn't affect everything because once you had one, you had almost like tons of memory. You could get third-party ones that had way more memory than the first party. Just these discs also, the main upside about discs, they can hold a lot of storage. They have up to 100 megabytes of storage. That's not to save stuff on, that's for how big the games can be. That's why games like Spyro the Dragon can be full hours worth um, games that are full-fledged 3D titles, and they didn't have any special menus or nothing. So, but when you had a game like, well, when you had a console like the PS1, so when you had the PS1, it was, I don't want to say unreliable because it was definitely reliable. Well, it had, okay, if you were to boot it up without a game in it, it would have this big menu. That takes up a lot of power. Menus take up power, and also storage for activating things, turning on things, downloading extra things. And so memory cards were sort of necessary. But when you didn't have anything like that, like on the SNES, turn on the system, the game automatically pops up. You don't need something like that. Wait, let me test. Yep, turns on. Okay. You don't need something like that. So just for example, I will show you what the thing looks like when you are playing it without a disc. Okay, so we are plugged in and ready. Press the power button, and we should get a menu. Let's plug in a controller really quick. Yep, there we go. No, the PlayStation sign didn't pop up, so we have the menu of CD player, which you can also play movies and stuff. I actually never knew that. Then you can access the memory card, which I don't have one, so we're just going to turn this off, and I'll be right back. Okay, so guys, we are back in the other bedroom with the SNES game, and we are going to show what happens when you boot it on without a game in it. So let's turn on the TV. Blinking light. Okay, so what channel is it on right now? It's on video, so that's good. So, okay. Let's get on the ground. Right here, we have the controller plugged in. And when you turn it on, yep, the light should turn on. So let's aim it at the TV, and that's good, okay. Powered on, you can hear the click. Nothing will happen, because this system was not made to have a menu. And there's no point in a menu, except for in the games, to customize your game experience. So let's power it on with that game. Shove it in there so it's nice and tight, and it turns on. So, and also I forgot to mention, most consoles now don't have these buttons on them called reset buttons, because you would go into the console's menu, and press reset now. But back then they had a lot of reset buttons, so you would click it up and it would reset. So let's turn this TV off, and I'll meet you back at the desk. Okay guys, so we are back in the room where the desk is, and before I put you back in your spot, I'm going to show you, there's the reset button right here. I have never used it before, and I've never needed to use it. So, I guess it's there for if you really need it. So, let's put you back into position. Okay guys, and you are back in position. So, as you saw today, I put a little extra in there to talk about reset button. But cartridges and discs are a lot more different. And I forgot to tell you something about discs on modern systems. So most people might be asking, why don't we put memory cards in our thing now? Well, because now we have actual called I actually forget what they're called. But there's hard drives. There are these big things that are blocks that you put into the console, and you can save all your data on the console. No memory card needed. So you can, like for the PCs, they don't use discs, but for an Xbox, you can put in, like on your phone. You might be saying, oh, my phone doesn't need one. It sort of does. There's something called an SD card where you open up the phone and put the SD card in. So technically, if you think about it, all consoles are still using these, but they're a lot easier to put in. So the Xbox, we have a 3 terabyte, now that's a lot of storage, a 3 terabyte hard drive that you'd plug in via USB and it just works. Like 3 terabytes, and that's a lot of storage. So it's not as complicated. Well, it sort of is, as going to the store and buying a specific. Going to the store and buying. Ooh, does this one work with PS1? It's more a oh, it just needs the USB port, which if it does, then you plug it in. I might have to make an experiment video on using a hard drive, not a hard drive, a memory box on a tablet or something. Because as I showed you in my how to use keyboard and mouse on tablet video, you need that adapter, female USB to micro USB. Maybe if you plug in USB to that, it'll give you extra storage. I don't know how that would work, but that would sort of like defeat the purpose of that thing, because then you'd have to lug that around everywhere, and it just wouldn't be that convenient. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully that taught you something about what the difference between a CD and a cartridge one were and how they work. So I'm just saying that most of these videos are aimed toward people who are either interested in, ooh, that sounds like a fun topic to learn, or seriously don't know this stuff and really want to find it. So if you find these videos entertaining, interesting, like very informative or informative in general, you can leave a like, you can leave a comment on maybe some other thing you would want to see next. And I will see you guys next episode. Peace.